Yeah,
that's basically it.
I think it will be good to talk about how this year's been. Because
Man.
I think it's been a crazy, crazy year.
Roller coaster.
And I know it's been crazy for everyone individually. I know there's been some madness happening, and I know there's been some great moments.
Yeah.
But I think this year's been the most memorable year. I think, not that I don't remember the other weddings before that, but it's just like it was just.
But it was about
lit.
time, innit? We had the COVID thing, no one was really working,
Yeah.
and this year was just like.
I felt like couples wanted to go all out this year, innit? Right? Have you noticed? A lot of couples wanted to go all out.
Yeah,
a
they've
bit
been
more this
waiting.
year. Yeah,
They've been
they've been waiting for this.
Because this year we had the COVID weddings postponed to this year.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
we
yeah,
had the people that were getting engaged this year, last year as well, getting married. So it's kind of doubled up.
Mm.
But I don't see it really slowing down next year.
No,
you were
to be
saying
honest with
this.
you, I was saying to you, I think this year was busy, but it looks like already next year will definitely be busier than this year. So, and that there's so many bookings in the calendar for next year. It's mad already. Yeah. So I do think, and the amount of inquiries coming in, just the levels of the numbers that are coming through now, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And what I've also noticed is people getting in touch quite soon. They're not kind of, back in the day it would be like 1 year. People tend to they plan for a year in advance.
Yeah.
People are calling me saying, I'm getting married next week or 2 weeks time and I don't have a DJ or I don't have this booked or I need a dance floor. I find it like pretty crazy for them, man. For me to kind of, I mean, I can pull it off if I wanted to, like very last minute, but it's quite nerve wracking on the other side of things.
Because if you're getting married, you have your preferred suppliers in your head. Like you'll know, like, okay, cool, I want these caterers, these DJs, photographers, whatever. So I would get nervous. You'd want to book it like at least a year in advance.
Well, those are the ones that tend to kind of book the fastest, the one that know what they want. But then at the same time, there's feels like a whole influx of new inquiries that are coming through that are not people that necessarily know the individual DJs. A lot of them, I think for us, it's been interesting because I think the best thing about DJs is when you do an event, you end up meeting people. And if they like what you hear, it's quite a simple process because you've seen it. You can feel like this is the right kind of DJ for my party.
Yeah.
So when they kind of come on that basis, it works. But, if there's inquiry coming through and they're not familiar with any of the DJs, then I always find it quite strange. But because a lot of people don't know about DJs, or they don't know about decorators, about caterers. So,
I can tell when an inquiry comes in if they've spoken to other road shows or not. Like, can you tell?
Yeah, it's bait.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
bait.
hi, how much?
Because they got
how much do you charge for a 6x3? like
exactly.
How do you know
a
what this
fog
is?
machine, a haze machine, a 6x2,
You
a
want
glass
6
floor.
moving heads and 4 washes. I'm like, how do you know what that is?
Very, very precise, exactly. But then again, you get a lot of people that will do that. And I think I was speaking to another DJ company yesterday, and they kind of mentioned, no. I mean, it wasn't a bad conversation. He was just basically saying, the kind of standard procedure for a lot of clients is that they will message multiple companies for the same service, which is understandable. But I guess then, when I book something, I don't like to ask more than 3 people because my head gets confused and I'm like, nah, I don't know. I don't want to ask 10 people's advice because then the more people you advise, the more confused you get. So in many times, I think, depending on where they go, what he was basically saying is that how do you protect yourself from a client sending that quote to another company and then kind of playing you off each other. And it's pretty funny because a lot of clients don't know how close other companies are, although that we might be
each other.
technically rivals as such.
Yeah.
But they can pick up the phone and call me and say, oh yeah, did you quote this client? Not that it matters. I mean, ultimately everyone's got their own price ranges, but I found it quite interesting. And there was a bar company there, 2 bar companies, and they basically were saying the same thing. They were saying that, what happens is one client will say, this is the price, and then try to get the other company to match it. And then if they match it, it kind of goes back and forth. Yeah, basically, because people want the business at the end of the day.
Strike a deal,
Strike a deal. But I think there's a fine line of hustling because I think it's the same with me. I never ask, or I hate to ask people for discounts because I feel like if you're running a business and you're good at what you do and I've come to you to ask you for a service, I don't want to be kind of push you or squeeze you or make you feel uncomfortable because then I might feel like you might not do the job properly.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you guys feel that there's a new influx of DJ roadshows coming in now? That people that are individual DJs that are now starting their own companies?
I think that there is individual DJs doing their thing, but
not as a roadshow.
Not as a roadshow. They're the same suspect.
They'll probably just like brand themselves and push themselves out.
Yeah.
And then...
But this is what you're saying about discounts and new, like, if someone says, oh, we're getting married here and this is our budget, and I'm like, well, our price is kind of here. and you're not in a rude way, but you're gonna get booked either way. So if someone's gonna ask you for discount, you'll be like, I can't do that because I will get booked this day anyways.
But there's also a fine line between people that ask for discount and people that like if you're getting married, just to throw it out there, you get married at the Fairmont, right?
Yeah.
And you're asking for a discount. It doesn't make sense. Like in my head, if you're getting married, you're doing a small intimate affair at home.
Fair enough.
I get it, right? I you can understand things because I was also just before saying to you guys, obviously with the rising interest rates, with things going on and the cost of living rising, it's going to affect everyone in the industry, and that's a reality. Like whichever way we look at it. But at the same time, I still think it's very important that you still have a party, right? And I think the main things that I always say to any of my clients is the importance of having the right DJ is the key thing to any good party. It does not matter if you have an LED wall or you have a dance floor.
Yeah, it's true.
It doesn't matter. Although it looks good and fine if that's what you want, and then by all means have it. But you need a good DJ. That's key.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like if they push the DJ, like that's number one. That's gonna push regardless of the production package or whatever. Like who's your DJ?
But
isn't it?
even that, right?
100%.
Sometimes people do send quotes over, and sometimes you do see things, and sometimes people do ask us questions about pricing in relation to other companies. And then I always think to myself, like, but who is the DJ? Like, how are you going to send me a quote or ask me to match something when you don't know who the DJ is? And if we...
Oh, what? So some other roadshows don't tell you which DJ?
In fact, I don't think it's a common thing for most roadshows that I'm aware of that actually say, look, cool, this is the package, this is the DJ. Because I think the school where we come from, we try to pitch and sell DJs. Like that's the first priority for us, right?
Yeah,
so that's the game. That's what we do, right?
Or they'll come in and say, we want X DJ.
Yeah, but a lot of time people just say, like you said, they'll email and say, I want a 6x2 meter wall, I want a fog machine. It's like, yeah, all right, cool.
Exactly.
But what about the music? Like you're getting in touch with a DJ company and you're not asking about music.
You're right.
Or DJs.
I think it comes down to experience as well. You guys obviously have 15 years plus experience. Some a bit more, some a bit less. Right. But you know what it is? I just think when you're getting a quote from, as you said, another company, which DJ is that for? That could be someone with like 6 months experience. Yeah. You're not going to ever go down to their level. And as you said, the DJs.
But you're right. They're concerned about the packaging for these lot.
Exactly.
Rather than the DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can sort that out.
Yeah. This is it.
Pick what you want. Like what DJ do you want? What type of music do you want? What genres do you want played? Like,
how do you want the night to go? You know?
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm saying. As much as we see this as a kind of a common thing, I find it very surprising that a lot of clients, they're not thinking about this. And I try my best to kind of guide that direction of conversation when I do have a conversation, or I try to put it across that, the main important things are like, is music, and please do listen to it. We've got Spotify playlists, we've got YouTube videos, we've got Instagram running,
socials,
we've got
mixes.
All of you guys have active mixes. Jason's mixes are like number one in whichever chart. Same with Devin, same with Shrey. So I guess it's safe to say we obviously care about the music the most. But I
don't get that. Like, if you're getting married, surely like, okay, cool, things like flowers are important and whatever else. Like that, I get that, but reception, like, it's just really about.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie. No one's gonna be like, the head table or that headpiece is looking wicked. Like, no one's gonna remember that. Are they? Like,
wow, look at the cake we saw the other day at the Savoy. That looks sick.
It did look good.
So like, if I see that, that cake was sick.
I said that.
Shout out to Cake Boulevard on that cake. That cake looked phenomenal.
But then, if I asked Shrey what color the flowers were, are you gonna remember?
No,
but see,
and I was sober. I was driving.
Yeah, I get that though.
I don't remember.
Same.
Like in relation to cake, it's because we host it and do the countdown for the cake cutting, so everyone's eyes are on the cake. So that cake's going to be saved.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
But the cake is a moment. The cake is a key moment.
Yeah.
You've got a few different moments to capture, and again, a cake is something that's there. It lasts a long time. Not lasts a long time. Then it's there. It might not all be real. A section of it might be real, but in comparison to something like a dry ice machine, a dry ice machine is used as a special effect for your first dance, and it lasts like a minute, man. Literally. And it's just for that picture. But again, I always find it fascinating that people want that.
Yeah.
But if someone hasn't seen the cake, I suggest you go see it. It's on our, where is it?
It'll be on Musical Movements Instagram. Hopefully by tomorrow.
Actually, what else you were saying about flowers? There was at Kimpton Fitzroy, the video from there and the pictures from there, the floral arrangement there, that was incredible as well. So sometimes it can be done and then
set the scene.
Yeah, it can.
It depends on the venue as well. If it's quite a bare venue, you need stuff to fill it out, right? But some venues are naturally quite aesthetically pleasing, so you don't need to do too much.
Yeah, but I still go back to like if you got in touch with a DJ company, you're doing it because you want to have a sick DJ or find out how much a specific DJ costs. I just don't get it.
You know what? It's the same. Like if you're going to book a photographer, you will look at their pictures.
Look at the pictures. Yeah.
If you're booking a
why do people not do that for DJs?
Yeah, again. I don't know. It's kind of like I kind of think to myself, did someone just call me and just ask me like how much is the price for the most basic package?
Yeah.
Why have you not asked me? Does your DJ play Bollywood? Does your DJ play R&B? Can they play this? Can they talk? How do they look?
Like tickets to a concert, you book your seat. You choose where you want to sit.
Yeah.
And you can see
because you want the experience.
Yeah, you still do some background check on stuff like that. I don't get it. Like if you're booking a DJ, go listen to their mixes.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't get it.
I even say we put it out there. It probably, I'm not too sure if anyone else does it, but we even do like an element of try before you buy. Come and hear the DJ. I'll encourage my clients to come and
to the
see.
club.
Come and see you.
Yeah.
Come and meet you
at the club.
Yeah.
He or she. Yeah.
I've seen quite a few other road shows, no names, but they have huge setups. Yeah, and there's quite a few of them. They've got huge setups, but then the DJs themselves aren't great. So you can have you can be driving the nicest car, but you're not a great driver. Do
you know what it is though? If you think about this from the Asian wedding industry, since I've been involved within this, and this goes back for quite some time, it has always been a lot about the look of things and how things are, but I don't think there's always been a kind of emphasis on the DJ side of things up until recently. Because to be honest with you, back in the days, 15, 20 years ago, I don't think it was such a thing about who the DJ is or what kind of music is played.
It's always the same thing,
right? But now people are like, no, actually, I want indie. I want elements of Mauritian music or Tamil music or with many mixed weddings. Yeah. You kind of feel like you've got to be able to play a little bit of everything, and I think that's probably why it's slightly more unusual for us, because we've come from a different background of not necessarily starting doing weddings. But I think for all of us, our journey has kind of been the same. To be honest with you, we've all started in clubs or within bars and trying to work towards that. My phone's ringing, sorry about that. I'll get back to that client soon. And I think now it's kind of it's music should be, and I'm always a big believer of that. Like it should be at the forefront of any party. If you're having a party, the first thing is music or entertainment.
Yeah. I think music generally is at the forefront of life nowadays. You know what I mean? People actually, I think television and music. I think music actually goes beyond. I think even TV and entertainment. What do you think?
I think.
Well, we're all DJs, right? We're going to say the same thing.
No, but even if I ask like a lay person, what do you think of how important is music in your life? A lot of people would say it's the most important. Do you know what I mean? And I think when it comes to getting married, there's no different. Why is it then all of a sudden it changes?
No, it's funny you say that, because even for example, when we do meetings or weddings, like even prior to like doing Zoom or phone calls and stuff, they want like customized mashups now. Like compared to before now, entrances, cake cutting. And before they never used to, want that.
It's true. Even for wedding ceremonies, how many inquiries or how many times have you been asked now to actually to DJ for the entrance and like to be on a moving truck or like?
Yeah, bro, I did that in Portugal just now.
Yeah, I saw that. There was the golf.
Still coming.
Yeah.
Where are those? I've been asking
my friends, Cash and Sahil. They still got all the footage on their.
Do you say their name again?
Yeah, Cash, Sahil.
We should call them.
Yeah, we should call it. We can actually dial them in.
Yeah, let's call it.
Should we work out to do it? We'll do it.
We'll do it.
Call them. Like, where's this footage, fam?
Yeah, innit?
Waiting to.
I've been asking Shay every day for the past however many months.
I've been asking.
You got to ask Shay a lot. Like, I think I message Shay sometimes in the morning. I probably won't hear from him until the like evening. And sometimes I think that's
the next day.
That's when he probably woke up.
No, bro. What time did I wake up today?
Okay, today.
Way too early.
Today's very punctual. Very surprising.
I got stuck in that oil thing though.
Oh, is it?
Do
you know what? If you see them protests, I think there was it's going to affect weddings eventually. Unfortunately, someone's wedding is going to get postponed, delayed as a result of that. Like you've had the COVID problems. I think we've got new problems now. But that is crazy because sometimes I think I spoke to someone that was stuck in like 6 hours traffic yesterday.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Sometimes it's the only route. Like this is the thing, isn't it? It's mad, bro.
Did you hear about that? There was a booking, and I think the cake turned up. That didn't turn up because of traffic. Whose booking was it?
Was that not mine?
I remember being at a wedding with no cake.
Yeah, I had the same thing.
Quite frank, could possibly be the same thing.
I think this was one of Vish's ones. There was no cake, and then they had to put a bottle of champagne there because of the Just Oil Stop protest.
Wow, that's crazy.
I got a question.
Yeah, it's mad.
Do you think they should have the champagne open already?
Always. Like, why does everyone's like messing around trying to open it?
You never guess what? I had this conversation with a couple yesterday. I was like, listen, if you're doing a champagne, they're having no cake cutting. If you're having the champagne, please make sure it's open.
Yeah.
I've been waiting there for 20 minutes while it's not even opening up.
I see Haps coming in sometime with a sword and like chopping them up.
Yeah.
Although I guess that's never mind.
But going back to obviously the question at the start, like what I'm going to ask each of you individually, what was your most memorable booking of this year or moment of this year? And I know there were a few, obviously.
I got a few as well, yeah.
A few bookings there.
Yeah, I think there's a few, man. Like, I got quite lucky with a lot of venues. I did Grosvenor House Mayfair, did the Savoy last week. So they were all very cool. But then, you know, like in London, I had a random Wednesday wedding and it was the best in terms of vibe on the dance floor. So I think London is just hit and miss. Like sometimes it's just a random Sunday that can pop off, or if it's a Saturday night, it doesn't matter. I think it doesn't matter which day of the week it is or what the vibe is.
This year's been like literally
totally random. I've had a wedding every day of the week.
Yeah.
It's just so random.
That's it.
It's because they're playing catch up on COVID, I think.
Yeah, because like, most of the people that want a particular venue
exactly,
that, have sold out already on the weekend, which is quite common for a lot of venues.
Yeah.
If they want to get married like within the year, then they've got to choose a date that works. But I'll be honest, man, I've found the midweek parties have been some of the best.
And they party on a
I
Tuesday.
had a Wednesday at Brackford Park.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But yeah, most memorable was probably Mexico. Mexico was lit.
Yeah.
It was sick. Like, bro, got flown out there. It's all inclusive.
where was it? Cancun?
Yeah, swim. Well, it's just outside Cancun, but
Yeah.
swim up bar, adults only, beach party, pool party. It was just sick, wicked. But yeah, there's been a few good international, like Portugal one as well. I had 2 in a row there. That was good.
And then you went Morocco as well.
God, how can I forget that? That was unbelievable. Like, Oberoi, Morocco. That was mad.
Venue looked lit.
The thing is, there was not much sleep time.
Yeah.
Destination weddings, I think is quite hard to sleep.
The change around.
Because you end up doing
a lot more.
Play until really late, and then you're up quite early.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of pretty back to back.
It's like they have no time limit. It's like just go.
That's the
play
thing.
when you want.
It's true.
Yeah.
After parties.
Portugal's changed though. Have you
Outdoors, I think they don't allow you to play until
after 10 or 11.
Yeah, you're not allowed. Yeah,
really.
You're not allowed to. Yeah.
But you can move inside and then probably play until 2.
Yeah.
Because India had the same thing. When I was playing in India, and I think at that point they stopped music at 11, but then they will let you play inside the venue until whenever.
Yeah.
Like some weddings, I think those are the hardest ones when they say you can play until when you want, and it's like, yeah, but you don't want to be that to end the party early because you're like, when should we end it? In London, you get more or less standardized at 12. You got to finish.
Yeah.
But when you're abroad, you don't want to be that guy. You want to make sure that people are there, so they talk about, yo, I was at this party until 6 a.m.
See, that's the other thing. I was speaking to someone the other day, and I said, what time? I'd ideally like my wedding reception to finish at like 2, 3. But what do you guys feel is the best cut-off time? That's not too early, too late. What in England? What would you
I'd say 1 or 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think 1 or 2. It depends.
Yeah.
Like if you have an after party plan, then you can end at 12,
right,
and do an after party from 1 till 3 or whatever, 1 till 4. But yeah, I think obviously later the better.
Because you think about it, if you have like dinner and then obviously final speech, you got first dance, and they don't want to party for 2 hours.
Yeah, but
they want to party for longer.
Yeah.
You know what it is as well.
We always get slated for like after 12 o'clock. Oh, play one more.
Yeah.
They want to go until 2.
And it's not your fault either.
They should start earlier. If you've got a venue that has to finish at 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Why do you need to worry about, maybe not worry about, but I think, why don't you factor in the time frame and say, all right, if the party finishes at 11, it's better to get the guest in for 6 p.m., for example. Perhaps miss that drinks reception if you can.
Yeah.
Get that turnaround in. Perhaps work on the speeches kind of being done at the Mendy party or...
To be fair though, Rugs, on Sunday, Savoy, there was only 3 speeches, but it was still an hour late.
Yeah.
I don't know why it ran so late.
I know. I think I know sort of what. I think the cocktail reception sometimes goes on a bit too long. And also the other things is, when they're doing the behind the scenes photo shoots for the bride and groom inside the venues, and sometimes they can take a bit long as well, which is obviously no one's fault, but I think it does have to be considered. A lot of bride and grooms need to consider like time does get eaten up very fast and things do run behind. So always add that extra hour. So if you know what I mean?
It's like adjustment to itinerary. For example, on Saturday at Old Thorns, they started at 5:30. So imagine 5:30, a couple of speeches, formalities out the way.
That's a good
starters, mains, and they were ready to party from 8 to 12.
That's perfect.
So a 4-hour set, take them on a journey like for that.
I had a similar thing like that.
Yeah.
I had
works.
I was at the Great Barn on Saturday, and they more or less the running order was smooth. The guests come in at a good time. So they had enough time, and the party kind of started. I think it was like 8 o'clock or something. And I think normally, as long as you can give like 2 to 3 hours on the dance floor, I always think that's a good number.
Works.
I always say, if you go to a nightclub, you're gonna get there at 11, leave at 2. Half the time you'll be at the bar, smoking area, whatever. So really, you're dancing for a maximum of 2 hours. So like, I think 2 hours is a good.
Is a good
two,
amount of
two,
time.
2.5 hours is what you need.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
100%.
any more than that, it gets a bit drags on a bit, and yeah, I think 2.5 hours and then have an after party.
Yeah.
You want people wanting more. You know what I mean?
Actually, you're right, because actually on Saturday, also at 10:30, halfway through the set, they had snacks. So people would just go mingle around, have some snacks, more shot trays,
You know what?
and then come back.
It's good. It's a
and
good
it
way.
works.
It's,
Like,
You know what? It's a nice way, like
not bad.
especially for the end of the evening.
Yeah.
Like to do sparklers or to ask people to leave the
Yeah.
room. So then this is how you avoid that whole one last. So if they do things like that,
That's
I
it.
was at a wedding in Portugal. I think I was with you in Portugal. And they had McDonald's.
last year. Yeah, they had McDonald's.
Yeah. And they
That's
had like
sick.
McDonald's right there. Like it was unbelievable. And
But
it was just mid party.
Exactly. Anything like that, like a pizza truck
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
McDonald's, whatever,
yeah.
you know, other brands. But or a sparkler exit, something to get
Yeah.
everyone out.
It's
and
nice.
then you can go and do an off party. That's not a
Yeah.
problem. But then if you're finishing at a certain time, I don't get the one last song. I don't get it. One more song thing.
I just
This is tradition.
You know what? It gets hard.
It's the hype as well.
it
They've come to a
changes.
peak,
And the
isn't
worst
it?
thing is we really
Yeah.
want to do it. And like
Yeah.
we would love to keep going, because if the dance floor's still rammed and like it's still a vibe, and you could go on for an hour, like it doesn't matter.
But I've got a good way to avoid it now, innit? I found a way that
yeah.
if I've tried it for the
Solution.
past 4 or 5 times and it's worked. So I go to anyone that wants a last song, I'll just say, yeah, the couple's going to lose the deposit, so we can't pay it. So they're like,
Good idea.
so they're like, oh, okay, cool, we're just going to go then. And it works. It
Yeah.
works.
You know what? I just hide. I hide. Basically.
You what?
I basically say this.
Good
is the
vibes.
last
Oh, you
song.
hide,
I
yeah.
give them- I always go through the last 3 songs with every bride and groom. Every bride and groom, I'll say to them, "Look, please pick
Yeah,
the last
yeah.
3 songs, so you know where we're gonna end." And I'll say these are the songs specifically.
I remember
Requested.
You know, I remember when I was like 13 or something, and Ruggs took me to a booking, and it was cut off time, and he was like, "I'm coming back," and he made me stand behind the DJ decks, and I had all these people shout at me. Yeah, I was only 40. I think I started crying as well. And Ruggs, I didn't even know where Ruggs.
I'm just watching from the side, basically.
But I think he was laughing at me.
Handle the situation.
Look, the reality is, if there's no DJ behind the DJ booth when it's the end of the evening, no one can ask you for one more. Like
Exactly.
when we ask the bar to shut when the guests are, or when the bride and groom are about to enter, for example, if there's no bar staff there, no one can get served.
Well,
So-
but at the end of the night, there's people that have come round to the back of the decks.
No,
I was about to say that.
That's happened before, man.
Yeah.
I
that's happened.
If it I always tell like because the venue always come over, like, make sure you finish at 11:55 and all. I'm like, yeah, you stand here at 11:55, and then I will go away, and then you can
Yeah.
deal with it. If
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
go after
Close
that's
laptop
fine.
done.
Yeah.
That's it.
But the same
As
thing
long
is
as the laptop's
we've
gone.
put another podcast out specifically about this, and like I think we try our best to educate everyone about it, because for us, I think
We're used to it.
we want everyone to enjoy the
We-
party,
we don't
but
even
we
mind
have to
carrying
end
on.
when we end because of the venue. Because look,
Yeah.
the reality is someone's gonna get fined, and if it's not us, it's the client or it's the caterer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if no one's out of that venue, or the music policy is 11 o'clock, and you carry on playing 11 to 11:01 or something, majority of venues, especially in London, are very difficult. But outside of London, they're cool. I've done an event outside in London, like in Milton Keynes, and honestly, they were just like, "Yeah, you can carry on playing." And I'm like, "No, this is not what I wanted to hear.
not what I wanted
It's
to hear.
like 1 o'clock, and we're out at the ends. Like, let's please finish so that we can move." And basically, they moved their party outside the front of the house, and the staircase to loading was real difficult. But to get out of the venue, they were just there with like boom boxes, and they stayed there for a good few hours.
That's nice.
That's why I think ending at 12:30, and then hosting an off party is the best way.
After party works. Yeah.
Because but they can even book us for the off party. I don't mind, but let that party finish on a high. All the elders can go to their rooms or go home, whatever they need to do, and then have the youngsters at an off party somewhere. Like
That's the fit. But if you're outside, if you're getting married somewhere, like you haven't got a facility or a place that's kind of close by, because there's a lot of country houses, a lot of places that don't have that. Yeah. You know what else is a scenario though? Like Amber done at his wedding with the silent disco.
I've done one of them. Yeah, I did it in Devon.
That's a good shout.
In Devon.
That's a good shout.
In Devon.
In Devon, yeah.
That sounds wrong.
I'll cut that out.
But do you know what? These days venues have like allocated spots in it. So afterwards, after like your wedding finishes,
a little bar or
yeah,
something.
you can go to a bar or allocated space.
It is true.
pizzas in or whatever, or set up
What's been your most memorable party then, actually?
So I think
you've been a busybody this year.
Yeah, this year's been mad. I think Portugal was crazy. When I went Portugal in, I think April, that was a good 3-4 day party. They had a Sangeet party, welcoming party. The wedding was wicked as well, and the reception as well. I think because they spaced out what they kind of wanted on each night, it works really well. Like asking the right questions as well, and even venues in the UK like Fairmont was really good.
Yeah.
Everything from the whole setup to layout to itinerary, because you can party till X amount of time as well. But those are the two memorable ones. But one that stood out to me in particular was one in July I did, and this was a random banqueting in Tottenham. But the thing is, on the form, the couple wrote, Dev, we just want you to do
your thing, yeah.
And I want you to pay what you want. 50% Bollywood, 50% urban. And in that urban is everything. And Bollywood is just a Bollywood. But that was the craziest party because
that's what you want.
They just partied all night. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that in.
And you think about it, right? So a random banqueting hall in Tottenham, but it was about the people, about the music. It was about what we are sort of good at.
Do you guys feel like when bride and groom give you a lot of flexibility, it's a bonus?
Yeah, 100%.
I always think
so.
Bro, when they've booked you, they've booked you for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so then just leave us to do. I did a wedding recently, and it was actually a really good party.
Yeah.
But I think the bride was she wrote on the form like no Beyonce, no Punjabi MC, no Fat Man Scoop, no Usher, couple others, and going there I was a bit worried. I was like, oh, I kind of play most of these artists, and there was a few other artists on there, and then I started in the party and it was fine.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I remember one of you, it might have been Shrey's one, where they sent a list. There was about a 10-page list of every
That was my one.
Oh, Devin, literally, even people like Michael Jackson know. You know what I mean? It's you got the greats.
Just
and
it's like 50 songs to play, 50 songs to avoid.
Just leave us to it.
Then I've had some couples that's filled out our forms and wrote, I just want like sort of like Devin's mashups or whatever.
Exactly.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. I've never seen that before.
They put our own YouTube links. They're like, this mashup that you made.
Or your Instagram links. Yeah. I thought it was quite cool.
Just for context, for anyone that's probably watching this that don't know that whole process, I think when the bride and groom tend to book with us, we will send them over a kind of a detailed form that we'd request them to give us some insight into the musical preferences that they would have. So that includes songs they want, songs they don't want, the musical genres. But again, a lot of people will always ask me the same thing, like how many songs or what direction do you need? And I think as long as I know what you don't like, that's usually the best insight that I can go from. But if you give me 10 songs or genres, because if they say, look, I need 70% Western and 30% Bollywood, then you know which direction you're kind of playing towards. Then it's safeguarding yourself, because I think the last thing any DJ wants to do is show up to a party and then be kind of in a position where they feel like they haven't done what they were supposed to do, or the clients are not happy. Although we know what to do with most parties and you can show up and trust our own judgment, it is a case of safeguarding. So it's like, cool, this is what you like, cool, we make it work. Anyway, just throwing that out there.
Ruggs, what was your obviously most memorable?
Do you know what? This year's been epic, but I think the most memorable one was definitely the Landmark.
That was,
with the band, the live band. That was the most memorable one. And I think that was kind of towards the build up, the end. It was on the 3rd of September. I remember the date.
Yeah.
It was literally the end of the season in my mind. It's kind of like when the things kind of calmed down, and I think it was just non-stop.
How is things with the band?
It's actually epic, man. I think
you've been, talking about them a lot and stuff. I've heard them a few times. They've been really good when I've heard them.
Yeah.
Very unique.
I think
with their sound.
For all of us, right, we've all played with bands, and it's always nice to have live entertainment for an event, whether it be for the drinks reception, civil ceremony. And like, I'm a big fan of live music, and obviously we're DJs. But when it comes to weddings, I find that a lot of clients tend to book a band and then book the DJ, but the DJ doesn't necessarily know the band. So what ends up happening is that we'll show up, do the setup, the band shows up with their own speaker system, and we'll play a 45-minute set when they come on, but we don't know what they're going to play. So we might be playing some of the songs, or we might be playing Drake or specific song that they may want to cover, and then someone might run over to you and say, yo, this is on our playlist, can you not play it? And then you don't know what to do, and you kind of feel a bit lost. It does, it throws you off. And then when we stop, the band come on, and then because sometimes they've got their own system, it's maybe not as powerful as the system we're using. It's kind of, the volume goes from here to here, and the atmosphere changes. Now you get some phenomenal bands that can, that are very well experienced, that can create a really good atmosphere and work very well with the DJs kind of coming on and off. But I didn't like the whole break to keep the gaps between a lot of the things. I also feel like it's appropriate that the band play an appropriate selection of songs for the audience that are there. And I think the idea of putting a band together is basically targeted towards weddings, essentially. That you can basically have the DJ that orchestrates when the band comes on and off. So all right, I'm going to play some Bollywood right now. I'm going to keep a violinist, or I might keep someone on the sax or a percussionist. And then when you feel like the appropriate time is to bring the band on to do a 30-40 minute set, it's kind of all synchronized. But you'll know, all right, these are the kind of tracks to play with. Because the idea was, how do you have a DJ and how do you have a band on the same page?
I was going to say, for those people that might not know, would you play backing tracks?
Yeah, essentially. So we've created backing tracks for the band. So essentially, it can work in two ways. The acoustic set for the dinner can be played with like just a guitarist, for example, and 2 vocalists, or a saxophone. So that's kind of just a roaming set as such. And they can basically sing things like, Stand By Me, Temptations, Lovely Girl, No Scrubs. It can be Motown. It can be some Bollywood classics. And again, this is all like we do with the
fusion stuff.
Fusion stuff with the request. But I do get a lot of my clients that say, look, I want a band, but I want the band to play more towards R&B or Motown, for example. But then I get other clients on the opposite spectrum that say, look, I want a band that's got elements of Bollywood or garage. And I think it's important, just like DJs adapt the playlist for a client, that as a unit we can kind of compromise or compile a playlist that's suitable for that particular client, because that particular client has the choice then to have a DJ play some of the key songs that they may want that the band may not be able to cover, but then have a first dance or have their entrance song sung. And if I'm honest with you, in my opinion, if you have a full live band and you have a drummer, it's quite overpowering. So the whole it doesn't sound as good to me now
with the backing track.
But the reality is, if you've got most venues in London have sound emitters, so you can't have drummers in venues, but this is why you need the backing tracks.
Even if it's not a sound limiter, there's someone coming around and saying, the bass is too high or whatever.
Because some venues you can run it. If you've got 8-piece band and you've got a drummer, like generally speaking, you're over 90 decibels, more than likely.
Get the engineer to duck the low or whatever.
But if you've got a DJ that got the backing tracks created,
live bands are sick.
Yeah, I agree.
It's brilliant.
Especially during meal time. I think for I like live bands generally, but I think for receptions, meal time, it's a good idea to have some gentle stuff going on with the band.
I agree, 100%.
But I like what you're saying about infusing it to bring them in and out of your set.
Yeah, because it is
I've
fun.
never heard of that.
But you can't, if you have a band on for too long, then in my opinion, again, when you got something so like a wow factor, it should be wow and for a short period and then stop, and then reintroduce it. But there's a fine line between like staying on for too long. And again, it should just be
because you want to let the track breathe after, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like the actual song, isn't it? Right.
I didn't realize this is so smart. So like you essentially carry on with your set, but instead of playing the actual track, you just switch to the backing track, as you would have played normally. But
so it's essentially an instrumental playing.
Essentially, it's a DJ live experience.
The journey is still one direction.
Exactly. So essentially, the way it would work is that there's 2 ways of doing it. So you can have elements of it just being the band, like just musicians playing. But I think if you've got, for example, a 5-piece band, I don't think you have to have the 5-piece band on for the whole duration or for 2 45-minute sets. I think it's nicer to have elements. So you got a violinist that might play for maybe playing over a short, a house section, for example. Then you've got a saxophone player that might come on for a short duration.
But you can liaise with them as you're playing.
Yeah, so basically the microphone is connected. So the DJ is talking to all of the in-ear pieces for the band. And it's saying, I'm going to play Michael Jackson next, so I'm coming to you to sing it, for example. Or you might say, all right, I'm going to keep the violinist, I'm going to do something now, or I want to keep the percussion player. So you kind of orchestrate how you want it to be, because who knows how to control the room.
I can't lie, it was sick at Landmark. Like when we were watching, it was,
and that was an 8-piece band, and I think the experience of that, because the interaction, because they were walking up to the tables. So
was that through dinner then?
During the dinner, Shagan and Portia walked over to a few of the tables singing, and like the atmosphere there was, it just set the tone from the beginning. But it was also a case as the guests entered the room. The guests with their band was there to greet them.
They acted as Toastmasters as well. Do you know what I mean? As hosts, it was more. It went beyond their just band responsibilities. They were literally a host. they just really made it welcoming, warm inside. And even Tottenham, the football manager, walked in at one point into the. Obviously, we don't like Tottenham, but he walked. I remember him walking in. He must have been. I remember him walking in. He was walking in, and he wanted to listen in, and it was just.
Oh really?
Yeah. He
was saying that. Yeah.
He was at the Landmark, and but yeah, we've worked with a number of bands, and I think the band were very, very good.
Yeah,
band.
I think it's like
good avenue to work.
I think if it's gonna be, I think it will be the next thing in the Asian wedding industry. By far, it's like it just makes sense. Like the newer generation, obviously, they don't just want Bollywood and Bhangra anymore. Like that's the truth, right? They want. In fact, most of the clients that actually tend to get in touch that want one of the DJs on our team tend to want us because they know we're very diverse.
They've heard us in a club.
Yeah,
and that's
at a student rave, and then a few years later they're getting married.
That's where it's come from.
Yeah, they want to rave.
That's where the leads come from. Yeah,
exactly that. And I think that's why it's so important to be in clubs. To be honest with you,
club style experience at your wedding, and they love that. That's why they like partying. Yeah,
but that's how it started, right? Because when I was doing clubs, essentially people were like, "I want you to do my wedding." I was like, "I don't really do weddings." Then it was like, "What? How much you paying? Let's go."
Yeah, it's true.
And then you're like, I can't have DJ Rugrat as a brand.
Exactly.
Up because he's playing like garage and grime on a Friday night.
Tight mode, fully.
I think that was a good podcast. I think that one.
Yeah. What was your to sign off with? What was your favorite booking?
My favorite booking. You see, this is the thing. I had to break from bookings this year, so mine was all online mixes and sort of carrying on that with my Mixcloud.
You're smashing that online mix.
Yeah, I agree.
Numbers.
So it's
Numbers
I just hit 10 million listens on Mixcloud.
Madness.
That's crazy.
That's it. Monday. That's the one. Thank you.
Come on.
Yeah, no, it is good.
10 million.
10 million,
Jesus.
man. Just it.
Man.
Yeah. So the numbers are going up organically, but I want to keep pushing that. And now obviously I'm getting back into the wedding industry because I can see all my friends. Basically, like you guys, obviously all of your friends are now getting married and stuff. So I can start seeing that. So I see it as an opportunity for myself to do these private bookings. So
even your that the TikTok video you put up got 135,000
views. Yeah,
views.
Well, man. Again,
Come on.
numbers, but
I love this.
That was a funny one. But yeah, I'll put obviously I'll put the TikTok in this underneath here or something. I don't know how it works, but it'll be somewhere in this podcast. But yeah, I think musical movements generally, we're onto something new. We're moving with times. Social media is now taking up a new.
Always been consistent with us, right? So like we've
always been diverse.
A bit different to all the other road shows and our other DJs. We've always tried to implement because we all started in clubs, like you said earlier, right? So we all tried to just do our thing, but make it adaptable for weddings. I think that's why we're quite different. But yeah, man.